Alright guys, I didn't expect to be starting this project. It's supposed to be about 3:30 on a Sunday, but I don't know. I'm going to give this thing a go. It's something actually I want to do for myself, but circumstances all kind of fell into place, and I'm going to give this a try, and if I follow through with it, I think it'll be an interesting video. I have no idea what my plan is, but one of the things, you know, you guys, well, I hope most of you know that I'm into clocks. Next time you watch an office shot where I'm in the office, look at the wall. There's a bunch of clocks, and there's 5 times more of those at home. But I was at an auction yesterday, and I picked this one up, and I'll tell you, you know, it's a beautiful clock. I mean, the details on it, it's just gorgeous. But it's got, you know, water damage on the case. It's a 1963 Forestville clock, which is kind of interesting. It's Forestville, Connecticut, and I have a connection to Forestville, New York, which I think is I don't know, I've always liked the Forestville clocks. Very, very pretty Art Deco kind of style with a twist, and these are very popular clocks. So if this didn't have water damage, clean this thing up. It's already running. It's a beautiful sounding clock. I didn't wind it. Maybe it'll play for you. It's like Bim Bam, which if this project continues, you'll hear it. Bim Bam, you know, that kind of thing. I like it. Pretty simple, but once you start restoring a case, it's not that it can't be done, but you lose all of its look. So as much as this is in halfway decent shape, I decided I'm going to make this, or try to make this, my first cannibalized blacksmith clock. So the concept is I'm going to take the insides out, and then I'm going to build something around that mechanism so that people can appreciate it in a different level with iron rather than the traditional wood. So that's the plan. Now a lot of you guys are saying blacksmithing clocks, they don't seem kind of mixed. If you really get into it, the fact that through mechanical gears and some springs or weights, this device can represent relatively accurately time. I think it's very, very cool. It's definitely mechanical. I think it's an amazing crafts. It's a representation of craftsmanship in fine detail. So depends on the clock. This clock got a screw holding the hands on. So what I need to do first is pull the hands off. If you look closely, you can see. I think I can't see a thing. Let me flip this up here. Yeah, you can see Forestville right there. And if we look on the inside mechanism here, 2 things give the date away. I don't know if you can see it or not. In this corner, yep, right in this corner. Look here, once I get my hand out of the light, it says 63 and a stamp. But more importantly, the crap I love to find when I'm buying old stuff. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it has a date there. GK is the initial of the guy that serviced this and wrote the date down, 10/13/67. 1964 rather, 10/13/1964. So, that actually says 62 now that I look at it. So this is a 62 clock, serviced in 64, and 3 years after it was serviced, I was, 3 years later I was born. So this clock, you know, is a 62. It's 5 years older than I am. And let me tell you something, I'm an old Sean Gunn, no doubt. So this is an awesome candidate for what I want. It's too bad that the outside is the condition that it is, and it's old enough to be a really cool clock. So let's go ahead and take this thing apart. First thing I have to do is take the hands off. I have no idea what I'm going to reuse on the bezel on the front of that, so we're going to protect that a little bit. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to go ahead and start taking the insides out of this thing. And it depends on, you know, the construction of the clock. Now this is not a super old clock, so it's got a relatively modern construction to it. You know, since you're here, I'll show you. You can't see. In all 4 corners, there's brackets and screws that I'm going to take out. So let me do that and I'll come back to you. I have all the screws out of the corners. You kind of need to sneak this thing by the chimes at the bottom. And there's the mechanism. Now, this isn't exactly the best scenario for me because there's not a lot of movement that you see. as the clock is running. And I think this would look much better as a skeletonized, and then with my blacksmithing stuff around the clock. If it had a pendulum swinging and the gears were more exposed. But it's a floating wheel, a floating balance clock. So you do have that motion there, and you'll see that. And then of course when the I wish I actually don't have a key. Here, I'll come back. Let me wind this somehow. I wound it a little bit so that the chiming mechanism will work. The thing about this, and I don't have the chimes out, but it's the motion that I want to capture. And I can do anything I want with these arms. These arms have lifting strength and then they fall. So I can actually have something above being lifted like a hummingbird or something, or a guy hammering on an anvil. All right, but with that motion, all right, and then again, this is a bim bam, so it does do 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 do, and then it only goes off every hour. So that was the half hour. So now it's going to go off bim bam, and it's going to. Oh, that was probably the half hour. Yeah, now it's going off on the hour, and it'll do bim bam for every number that there is in the hour. So there was 2 o'clock, I think. I didn't count 2 or 3 o'clock. So those, we got that mechanism, and I can do something with it, and then of course let these things play the sound. So, but I think it's cool if you can see that floating balance wheel in there. You can hear it. So it isn't the prettiest skeletonized clock. If I get into some of the 1800 clocks, early 1900s, and those things will be phenomenal. But because I haven't done this yet, and I'd rather mess with something not quite as old. So that's the outside of it. Let me pull the chimes out, and that'll be what we're going to use in the. Be careful, I don't mess anything up here. That's what we're going to use as the base, and then we're going to build something around it. I have no idea what yet, though. The chime mechanism, which goes onto a soundboard usually to generate the tones that you're after. So I'm not sure, because I've never done this before, if I'm going to have to build some acoustics. I mean, the acoustics, in the clock, it's something that the engineers or the clock makers that made the clocks, and they put some time into trying to make that work. I'll just kind of simulate this. Are you looking at me? Yeah. We got to hold everything where it needs to be, but. Alright, so that was much quieter than it normally is. And again, I'm going to have to work this out, because I've yet to try these things outside of the sound box. The clock actually is very much like a guitar, right? It's got the sound box there. So that's very much quieter than it would be inside the clock itself. So we need to work that into the engineering. It needs to have some acoustic chamber. Those days when Chandler should stick to making railroad spike knives? I think this is one of them. Alright, so I've been sitting here just so many different ideas and concepts. The first one that I kind of came up with is just this like stone or brick shaped box where it's cracked and like a piece has been, like a cutaway. That was the original idea, was a cutaway of something, and that clock is shown inside there. And I kind of like that idea. It's just a little bit too boxy and industrial for me. So then I came up with, I don't know if you can see it very well or not, and I know my drawing sucks, but a log. And if like a log out in the forest with good wood texture in here of some sort, and then a hole in the log, and have the clock and the mechanism in that hole, and then on the outside would have some vines all over the place. I think that would be cool, and the side profile would be a little less realistic, but a flat back and a flat bottom, so that somebody can put it on a shelf or on a against the table or a wall or something like that, and have it fit properly. and the clock would sit in here like this. That would involve me creating this cord. Actually, it's not a cord. This arc of wood texture on the outside with vines coming all the way around it. I think that would look cool. I think that would also give me a bit of an acoustic tunnel, or an acoustic box for the sound to be projected from. I kind of like that idea. It's a heck of a lot of work, and I didn't tell you, but I have a show this weekend, and I always like to have something new, something exciting for the show. And this might be the piece, but I really can't spend more than a day on it, day and a half on it. A day I think would be the best, actually. So I think I like this idea. I'm not sure I'm going to like it when I get done. I do need to think about the mounting points of the clock. So I got these 4. Now I can do whatever I want with those, but I think I like how that's going to work. I think we can go ahead, and when we get done, we can go ahead and create 4 mounting points inside the log area there, and try to tie it in. I definitely want this part visible. That's the floating wheel. I want to be able to see that motion back here. Alright guys, I got the first 3 pieces cut. I changed the dimensions a little bit. Just seemed that it was going to end up being a little too bulky. So we'll see. Again, this is just like always, never done this kind of stuff before. But this is the bottom of the clock, and that will mount this right in there. And then the main part of the clock will be on top of that. I'll have to put some feet underneath there to compensate for that mounting. This is the back of the clock. So these two will go together at a 90 degree. And I don't believe I need any access to the back. This is actually going to be curved with the tree bark, and that'll become the face of the clock. Once I kind of have that done, then I'll go ahead and cut the semicircles, or whatever you call them, quarter circles, not even that. The arcs, 90 degree arcs, whatever. Jeez Louise, I'm tired today. And we'll put those in. So I think what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go ahead and weld these up, or at least tack these together so that I have an idea of what I'm working with. And then I'll put the tree bark in. Now the question that I have is I need to put an opening, I need to kind of open up where I want that clock to be exposed in there. And I don't know whether to try to cut that now and then bend it, or to put the bark in and then bend the curve and then cut that opening in. And I think the opening in afterwards will be the best way to do that, because it'll be easier to get a consistent bend out of this if we were all solid. If I start cutting, then this part here will bend sooner. So that's where I am right now. I think I'm going to go ahead and just tack these guys together for now to give me some structure to work with, because I also need to figure out how I'm going to mount that clock. When you wind these clocks, it takes a lot of force, so that mounting mechanism has to be pretty strong. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll go ahead and throw some basic tree bark on this piece. Alrighty, Aphrodite, we look pretty damn good. The nice thing is this is going to be a tree, or a piece of a tree, or a log, or something like that. So we do have a little room for organicness, as in not being perfect. But like I said, I'm just going to tack this a couple of spots. Just to give me some structure. That's the start of it. Alright, so I think we're going to be mounting this clock as far back as I can. I have a protrusion in the back I got to compensate for. And we'll be centered up right in here somewhere. I wonder if I want to try to keep the clock as centered as possible. I didn't give myself a lot of room to do that, but I might want to do that. Although Maybe I won't. Kind of center the whole mechanism and just deal with it that way. I think that'll look good. I'm kind of liking how it looks at the moment. Of course it ain't looking like much right now, but let's go ahead and get this tree bark put in and get this roll in here, and we'll see what the hell that looks like. Late in the day to be starting a hammering project, but I guess that's what we're doing. And we want Bet you enjoyed that noise. I'll be back with some earphones and when this thing's done. Phones, I'm at earmuffs. A lot of hammering. Holy cow. So I use the small cross beam to put those marks in to represent bark, but what really gives it its depth is when I go to flatten it back out, I go ahead and start flattening it. And when I get close, I use the rounded head on this hammer that I made. That's it. That gives it, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see it. It gives it that rough bark-like, ununiform look. It kind of does the trick, that's for sure. Alright, what I need to do now is heat this thing up and then get it into that curve that I want for the shape of that outer side. And that's a trick in itself. But it helps when it's warm. Alright, so the start of this curve has got to be a little steeper than the bottom of this curve. I just go right down on the ground. Good way to hold on to it, that's for sure. So you're looking for an organic twist all the way through. Let's see, this is the top. Alright. And I want a bit more of a curve here. Wish I could hold on to the end. Science, right? the top. I'm trying to match this up so that it looks right. Like it's going to simulate a regular log sitting there, and I kind of like that. That's not bad at all. I think we can fudge that in there where it needs to be. Alright, that's close enough for now. Alright, she's still a little bit hot. We're not quite curved the same up here. Just kind of straighten it out a little bit. Again, fortunately it's a thing of nature, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to fit that frame. Alright, one way or another, whether it's overhanging the top or undercutting the bottom, I don't care. Now the question that I have is, do I really want it to come out and round back in? I'm not sure about that. Also, we've got a bit of a twist on the thing right here. It's twisted that way in the hammering. So it's just a lot of fine tuning. But I think we're okay. Getting closer. Alright, now what we need to do is visualize that opening that we want in here. You know what I'm saying? Still quite cattywhack there. But we'll clean that up in both directions. So we got this thing here, which I want to be able to see the steel, but or the markers, but I don't want it to be totally exposed. And then we have this mechanism, this mechanism here, which is going to go on top, right around that height. So I want to be able to see. Alright, so I'd say somewhere in that range we need to create our opening. So here's our top. We can actually come a little higher than that. So if we go something like that, and now let's see, my top stops here. I like that. It's going to protect the mechanism a little bit from dust, but still allow me to see what's going on in there. I'll be able to see the hammers moving, and I'll be able to see the clock moving. I'm actually going to come out here a little bit higher, depending on where they put it. Alright, something like that. Now, the next thing I need to do is take into account these mountings, which I think are going to be visible. I just don't think there's any way I'm going to do that, because it's going to be way back here. So I guess I won't care too much about it. I like that opening. Okay. So what I'll do now, again, I guess this is what you call art, right? Because it's all trial and error. I'll go ahead and get the torch and we'll cut that opening. It's going to be quite a bit of freehand for sure. But again, that's what we're going for, is this organic kind of look. And again, I'm not using any science here, just kind of, I guess, throwing paint on a canvas is what I'm doing. But we got to make sure we're not jaggedy. We want at least something relatively smooth. so I kind of like the way that's looking. Very, very earthy. But I think that's going to be cool. I think somebody's going to like that. Now the question is, can you see the movement? I almost want to go higher with this cup because I can't, standing here looking at it, I really can't see that movement. So I might actually come up and just go a little bit more on this. Yep, I'm going to do that. Alright, actually my line did come up there a little more. I think that looks much better. That's going to do the trick. Let me just think a little more. This now with, let's see, you got a little higher view there now. Having that little cutout I think really helps. And I can now, from my angle, I can see the wheels spinning and all that. Here's my next problem. You know, this clock was a front mounted clock. And that's really the only way to mount it, because the mounting brackets are here, and these pins that go through, they're peened in on this side, so there's no way to remove those. So as much as I hate the idea of it, I'm telling you right now, I'm toying with perhaps re-drilling the back of this. But at that point I'm changing the clock, and now I'm defacing, you know, this is a 1962 clock, so maybe I shouldn't do that. Oh crap, I really would like a back mount on this. I do have this structure here. Boy, if I had one more hole over here I could do something. I wonder if I could do the bottom. I don't mind the bottom. I can run a plate on the bottom and then use perhaps this back here on a vertical plate in the back. That'll do the trick, and that way I don't have these things showing as a mount. I like that. And that way I'm not altering the clock at all. I think this thing's going to sound pretty when it's done. When everything's mounted down. Alright, I'm kind of liking that. That's the plan. So I'm going to put some type of mounting plate on the bottom, and then we're going to remove these two brackets, which doesn't deface the clock that much, and then I'm going to tap into these screws that are coming out here, and we'll create a method of mounting there. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do so I don't disassemble this clock, in case somebody ever wants to say, oh my god, somebody destroyed that 62. These two top brackets I'm going to go ahead and just remount on the back, so somebody can just put them back to the front if they want to, and I'll use those as my mounting mechanisms for the clock. So that's the plan. We're moving. I'm not hating it yet. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. It's a little bit on the earthy side. I'm not sure what kind of money I'll be able to get out of it, but you got to keep trying, right? I drilled the holes for the soundboard, and I drilled them too small. I'll be back. Again, probably right in your way. We'll get those two mounted on. Again, these will protrude out the bottom, so I will have to make oh, they line up too. I must be lucky. Either some legs on the bottom, or when I get done I may actually have to stiffen the bottom. I'm not sure. So either way, we're going to elevate the bottom off the tabletop or whatever it is it's going to be mounted on by probably, it looks like a 1/4 inch or so. Wow, those didn't tighten down very well. I wish it did. So we want a nice acoustic tightness there. Oh, I wasn't all the way down. That's the problem. All right. So hopefully once we tighten these in, we'll get a much richer sound. Again, I don't know for sure. Let's see, we're up off the ground a little bit there. Did I bend anything in the process? No. Let me get set up here a second. Let's see what that does. I bet you it's going to sound a little better. Get it lined up. I like it. I think that'll be plenty loud now. That's cool. Freaking cool. Alrighty, let me, I'm going to actually work out the mounting of the clock mechanism now. Once I have that kind of stuff in place, then I can go ahead and finish this whole assembly thing. Yeah, recording. I'm not anything straight. Alright, before I go any farther, I'm going to go ahead and put a legitimate weld across this back. Everything looks good, so I'm just going to do some tacks all the way. Every inch or so. Move so I can go ahead and clean. I want to clean the inside so it's 100% clean. That way as I'm welding, I don't have to go back and try to clean behind where I'm welding. And then we're going to put that front bracket on, the back bracket on, and we should be able to mount the clock and do a test run on it. There's the mock-up so far. I got the rear support to put in still, but short of that, I think it's freaking cool. I think it's going to be cool looking when it gets done. It's certainly going to be unique. That is for sure. What do you think? I don't know. I think I like it. I think I do. I don't know for sure, but you know what? It is what it is, and somebody will like it. They'll be like, whoa, I've never seen that before. So I think that sounds pretty cool. I got a little vibration because I don't have the feet on it yet. But if I put my finger on the bottom plate here, that vibration goes away. Not bad. I think it's, I don't know. It is certainly different. Somebody will like it. But again, it's something that I want to do is to start repurposing some of these mechanisms. And this is my first attempt at it anyway. So what do we got to do tomorrow? I'm going to be quit today. I got the back support to put in. We got to get the ends on. And we got to clean everything up. And that's it. That's the way it's going to be left. Just like that. Oh, we got, well, no, shoot. I got all the vines and stuff that I want to do around here. Very, very cool. It would be nice to be able to put in a curved front on that just from a dust perspective, but we're not going to do it on this one because number one, it's too difficult, and number two, there would be no other way to get into the mechanism. But right now, you should be able to come in and attach and remove that mechanism for cleaning if you need to. So, movement. I keep saying mechanism, movement. I don't know, guys. I think it's kind of a cool approach. I think somebody is going to like it. It's just a little too earthy, I think, for me, but that's what we're going with. Tomorrow. Ciao. Alright guys, day 2, we got the back mount in now, the front mount's in. These bolts are a little too long, so I'll go ahead and replace those with shorter ones, I think. But it's nice and solid now. We'd be able to wind it. And she's not totally tuned yet. But everything's close enough where I think we're going to be okay. And that should echo a little bit more once we get this box in here. So I'm happy with that. The inside part I think is as done as we're going to make it at this point. Of course I got to clean everything up and in that. But now what I want to do is I want to get these sides put on, and then get the entire box put together. Then we got all the ivy to make. That's when we get back into the blacksmithing. Alright guys, we got these ends cut. I went back and I shortened this overall length for like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or less, because when you put these ends on, I think it's going to look a lot better to have a bit of a reveal there. Actually, what I mean to say, it's going to be easier to make it look better with a bit of a reveal there. So I'm hoping that I can go ahead and just have just a little overhang, not much, representing perhaps the bark, which is opposite of what nature would do, but it makes things look better that way. So if I can get things positioned here for you for a split second, just about like, come on now, about like that. I mean, it's just a very subtle, actually I almost wish I'd gone a little farther. Just a very subtle reveal. So now what I got to figure out is how I want to put this thing together, and also I want to put some rings on here. And the last time I did that, I stamped them on. I think in this case I might try etching these son of guns on there. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm gonna. That's the approach I'm taking at this point. Hopefully it won't hurt me in the long run. But there we are. Let's get the rings on. Get it cleaned up. Get the rings on, and then figure out what the approach is, because I got to be able to weld this all together. And I suppose I can weld the bottom and grind, and that wouldn't be hidden. And I can weld the top and grind, and that would be hidden rather. Weld the top and grind, and that would be hidden. I don't know if I can get inside here or not. That's the trick of it. But we're gonna see what we're gonna do about that. I hope somebody likes this damn thing when I get done with it. That's this thing. I'm gonna try something that I've done in the past, and I'm gonna cut some of this electrical tape into pinstriping, just thinner for more flexibility. And I'll go ahead and pinstripe where I don't want the edges of the rings. Alright, and then we'll use electro etching, probably just salt water, maybe salt water and vinegar. We'll see how it goes. I've cleaned this area off. Now there's a lot of scale on this thing. I've never seen scale so difficult to remove than on this damn piece of sheet right now. So I'm not happy about that in any way whatsoever. I'm also not happy that I can't get this tape started. What the hell? Crying out loud. What the freak, man? Alright, here we go. Okay. So let's just see how this works. And again, I want it to be organic in nature, so we don't really want to have any straight lines. If we can help it, we don't want to have any wrinkles. And we want it to look semi-uniform, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It seems like a lot of time to put into. So I've never tried this before, is trying to represent rings, but I think this will work. I really do, as long as we keep the curve organic and relatively the same thickness, which is easier to do when you have good eyes and good lighting, and I have neither. But I think we'll be alright. I think it'll be appreciated. I don't think it's got to be perfect. That's why abstract art might be the way to go with some of this stuff. Dang, man. But that doesn't look too painful to do. Alright, so I got my lines in there. Now, before I go ahead and bother wrapping the other one, I'm going to give this a try and we'll see what the heck happens. So let me get set up for that. And this is the original method I used to try to etch my knives back before I had the Etch-O-Matic. I guess it doesn't matter where. Some piece of cotton. What I'm using here is a little bit of water, a little bit of vinegar, and a little bit of salt as an electrolytic. And we got the charger here. I think 12 volt 2 amp is fine. I'm just going to leave it at the 6. And you just kind of dab that around. You don't need a lot of electrolytic, but this is the biggest thing I've ever tried etching, that's for sure. The longer you leave it there, the deeper the etch will be, and that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Assuming it's working. I can smell it working. I don't see it working over here. Now the thing I'm concerned about is I did not actually take off all of that mill scale. So hopefully it'll work. So I'm going to sit here. It's going to take me a minute to cover this whole area, and I'll be back. Alright, I've been at this thing, I don't know, I'd say more than 5, less than 10 minutes. I have no idea what I'm getting out of this. I'm a little surprised. I don't think it's going to be working well because in between these lines I can still see that mill scale there, and you would expect that would be the first thing to disappear as it etched. I believe I spent plenty of time. Normally to etch in a pattern or something like that, you're only talking about, leaving it there for what, 10 to 15 seconds max. So I'm a little surprised that, although maybe I'm halfway through the freaking metal and I don't even know it. I just thought I would see the mill scale disappear, but we're going to find out here in a minute. I certainly feel I spent enough time to put an etch on that thing. We'll just go one more pass slow and then I'll be back. It sure is doing its sizzling like it normally does. Alright, so that's that. Now we're going to have to, because of the vinegar, we're going to have to neutralize this in some baking soda and water. But let's see. Did Chandler do anything? I'll tell you, I can't get a good light for anything today. Can you see that? We did something. I don't know how deep we are. The reason I'm worried about how deep we are is once I weld this on, I might have some cleanup that I have to do. And if I hit that with a wet wire brush or something, if I'm not deep enough, it might be a problem. But yeah, that worked. Not quite as deep as I wanted. And I'm guessing that mill scale doesn't help. It does. It puts the effect in. Can you see it? Oh yeah, you can see it. Freaking light. Sorry, dudes. Looks like wood grain to me. Looks like fake wood grain to me. I ain't got nothing to complain about with that one. Nothing at all. I mean, I could have been a little more careful with how I put it on there, but let's move this, put this here, and we'll see what it looks like. See what it looks like. Oops, what did I do? After all that, I'm grabbing the side. Hell. You can't see the light. It's hard to see with the lighting, but it looks like I tried. It looks good. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And then I think it'll be good. Here, maybe at this angle. You can see it better. Let's see. Am I still recording? Yeah. You get the idea where we're going with it. So let me do the other one. It is what it is what it is. I got the second one done. You can see what I was going for. Again, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it isn't the best job somebody could do. You could be much more detailed with the lines, but I like it. I mean, it gives that extra sense of realism to the piece. I think what I'm going to do, I think the next step in this adventure is going to be to get the sides welded onto the bottom case. You know, the big question is, do I put the sides on first, or do I put this onto the case, or do I put the sides onto the curve first? Because one way or another, I got to get in there and weld. And I'm not sure it's not going to be easy either way. That's the problem right there for sure. So I haven't decided. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think I almost want to do these sides because I can get in and tack the corners from there. I actually think I'm going to do the sides first. So we're going to figure out where we need these to be. Get them tacked in there, I guess. I'll be back. Can you see the grain there? Yeah, I mean that friggin' looks okay. This is where you got to take whatever skill you don't have and you do have and try to compensate for it. So, you know, of course this didn't fit perfectly in through here, so my welding is kind of ugly, but at the same time, you know, I did the best I could to round this corner off. It doesn't look absolutely horrible. It looks organic enough that I might be able to pull it off. But, you know, geez, I wish I could have done a cleaner job. A lot of fill in the inside corner here because of the excuse me, the spaces and the gaps, but I think that doesn't look too bad. You know what I could probably do is just booger up this end with a hammer and try to blend that in a little bit, which I think probably isn't a bad idea. Like that, by making this edge a little more organic, aka hit it with a hammer. It actually blends in a lot better than it did before. It almost looks like it's supposed to be like that. It looks like rough old bark on the outside. So sometimes there's ways to compensate for some of your lack of skills. Sometimes, not always. Hey guys, we're getting close. I've been welding up. Where am I here? Come on now, the frame. I got across this bottom, we got to do, actually that's the top. Across the top is the big one, but I have one more weld on this side that I'm doing. I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not. Damn, where are you? Because I'd melt through this stuff. The MIG I have just isn't that fine-tuned, and I suck, right? So I go zzz, 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 and just kind of stack those balls up. That's what I'm doing. So I'll let you, well, I guess you can't see from there. Hold on. You'll be able to see from here at it. But this is what I'm doing. Right or wrong, it's what I'm doing. You guys will let me know, folks, show, but that allows me to stack up that weld and keep it really narrow so that I can grind it off. So let me, I'm gonna have to do a little tricky squeezing to make that work. Let me finish welding it up and then we'll come back. We're getting close. Okay, she seems to be together. I'm gonna grind these off. I think I can keep. The thing about, you know, this kind of stuff is, you like, how much of that etching do I lose? I hope I won't lose very much of it. I hope it'll look not half-assed. Get some of that splatter off. I did okay with splatter, not too bad. So we'll grind that off. Ooh, I don't like that one though. Yeah, maybe it isn't horrible. And then all I got to do is mount the feet on the bottom of it, and we can go ahead and. Oh yeah, somebody wanted to put ivy on this, didn't they? Holy crap, we got a lot to do stuff. Alrighty. Chandler had said, hey, let's throw some ivy on this, we'd be done. I think that's the coolest looking thing in the world. Alright, so there's no finish or anything on it yet, but it's got a nice little echo to it. Nice reverb. I wish I hadn't cleaned so much of that scale off because this side looks really sharp. So, oh well. All right, let me think about some vines. All right, so here's the start of my ivy collection. I just printed out a couple of templates. We're gonna zip these things out with the torch. I don't know how many I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I bet you 20 or 30 of them anyway. We've got a couple of different sizes, and we'll see what we can do to make them look like ivy leaves. On the new Cut 50, I think it's high frequency start or something torch. This is from the old Cut 50 torch. This is what I end up with, and this is from the new one. I mean, much cleaner. I don't even know why I went down this path. I should have went right with this one. Let's get them hammered up. I have no idea. I've never made ivy leaves before, but we're going to see what we can make out of these things. I have never made ivy leaves before, so I'm not sure what the hell I'm going to do with them. I think the first thing I'm going to do is just get the edges tapered down from the cuts. We'll go ahead and put some texture in. I think that seems like the right thing to do. Hope these things don't take forever to do. Alright, so that looks good. You just heat it up again. We'll put some veins in and see what we got going on here. Sweep the floor. Give me a little heat to play with. Let me grab the picture. When I find it, I will be melted. We're getting close to hot. Alright, so the picture is, you can see, right, we got a main vein and then a vein for each of the 5 doohickey-majiggers. So let's see what we got to do to make this happen. Again, try to be as quick as possible as we can with these because we have so many to make. Nothing's perfect in nature, so we have lots of room to play here. So we got something like that. I'm not totally happy with it. And then I think we can throw a couple of veins in off to the side here. I wonder why all my tools are magnetized. What the hell? Just I don't know. Doesn't look horrible. Doesn't look great either. But here's where we should probably make a tool. I think what we're going to want to do is we're going to want a center fold here and then a back fold on the other side. We'll get this down to a routine here pretty soon. Alright, so it's kind of flowing out like that. I don't think that looks bad at all for an ivy leaf. Let's try a few more. After 5 or 6 of these, I kind of got this down to a science depending on how well they're cut. But like I did before, put the texture in. Oh man, of course the time I show you I'm dropping it. Just put the texture in so that each of these, what the heck are they called now? Lobes are defined just to add that extra character. Put our main stem in. Try to throw one out to each lobe if you can. If you can't, that's life. Nothing's perfect in life, I'll tell you that. So I do that and I come back with this damn magnetized thing. I want a magnet over it or something to figure out how to demagnetize the damn thing. Boom. Just throw some veins in. Like that. Just a couple of extra veins. Come back. Wrong song. Two folds at once there. Fold this one over like this. And if I want to, I can give that top one a thing. So again, it ain't perfect, but it'll work. Finish them up. Alright, I got the leaves done. The next thing I need to do is make up some vine. I have this, I think it's 1/8 inch round. I'm just going to throw that in the propane forge so I can work with more of it at once. Get that kind of beat up and twisted and kind of weird looking so that we can turn it into what looks like a vine. I hope I have enough of it. Alright, again, all we're going to do is beat the living daylights out of this. Twisting it as I hit it. That puts sometimes a twist into it for you. It really gives it a beat up look or a viney look. I'm not going to have enough vine, I don't think, but it is what it is. That went so quick, one more time through won't hurt anything. Let's go do that one more time. It's a little bit shrinkish, aren't done, and then we'll figure out how to make vines. Sometimes I ask myself, what the hell was I thinking? Is there a song like that? Anyway, so I got, I hope I have enough leaves. Got the leaves forged up. Just off the wire brush, I have this vine. This is definitely not going to be enough vine, so that's a little disappointing. And we're going to go ahead and just tack these leaves on, somehow alternating down through the vine, I guess, like that, to make it look like ivy. And then we'll go ahead and figure out where we're going to put the vine on the tree. I think that's the right way to do it. The other way to do it is to put the vine on the tree and then tack the leaves on. So I'm not sure, I'm getting tired, and I really can't stretch this into another day. I have a show coming up this weekend. I have things I got to get done for that in addition to this thing. So that's, you know, that's pretty. I think it'll do the trick, but I got to figure it out. After a bunch of messing around, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and put the leaves on, put the vine on, and then place the leaves where I want rather than do the leaves ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and use the TIG for this and just try to put this somewhere where I like it to be and hope everything goes well. That's the hope. Oh, freaking argon. What the hell reflection do you have? What the hell is the reflection in the mirror? I don't know what. Oh, it's on my chest. I see it. It looks like it's on the glass. Oh, I'm losing my mind. Picked up some argon this morning. Let's hope we can get something to happen today. Just want to tap here. Maybe a little better angle, because that ain't much of a tap. Always getting the vines on here, but one thing we need to think about, especially with the clock, is that it's going to resonate inside here. So any spot that something could vibrate together, like right here, we need to make sure that gets at least tacked or isn't touching, because it's going to be it'll be a bunch of vibrating noise, and I don't want that after I'm done. That's for sure. It's turned out to be a pain in the ass, but I think I'm okay, except when I hit really hard. Something else in there, but alright, I'm going to clean this up with a wire brush where I did all the welding, and then we'll go ahead and start putting leaves on and get this thing done. I'll take you in and show you the progress so far. I'll tell you, I'm almost not man enough to weld this light gauge freaking tin or sheet onto this heavier stuff, man. It's challenging me, but we're getting there slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Crapoles, I tell you. There it is. I like it. I think I did okay for a numbnut with a TIG. Hopefully everything will blend in. I'm going to clear coat this whole thing, so hopefully everything will blend in once I'm done. I gotta go in and just clean up all the brown gook and schmook, and then dudes, I gotta clear coat this and put it to, oh no, I gotta put feet on the bottom. Got some feet to put on the bottom, clean it up, clear coat it, and we were ready to go. Alright, we got it all cleaned up. Next question that I have is, do I take the torch and put some tempering colors into these leaves? I love that color, I really do, but I don't know if I want to do that to this or keep it all monochrome. I don't know. What do you think? I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. I think just to give it a little bit more color. I threw some of those colors in there. I don't know if you can see it in this light or not. It's pretty subtle, but it's there. I like it. I like it. Alright, we're going to put some feet on this thing. Alrighty guys, we got this sons of gun done. Alright. I think it looks freaking awesome. It's got a nice echo to it. It sounds great. Looks good. It's an awesome, I don't know. I guess this will fit better in the ArcSmithing class. But we did forge the tree texture for the log, and we forged the ivy and the branches for that. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm kind of happy with it. It took a little longer than I wanted it to. Let me give you another shot of it. Pretty cool. End of that one. Catch you on the next one. Maybe something a little more typical blacksmithing, but you know, try to find stuff that sells. And you know I like clocks, so I thought that would, you know, I've been wanting to do some type of clock project for a while, so I think it turned out nice. I like it. Catch you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.